Good evening, YouTube. Paisanos Music and Vinyl Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, Genevieve. Team Paisano in full force.
Without Gretchen.
Without Gretchen. Oh my goodness, how could you forget the big G? Back from her ordeal after being captured by Russian terrorists. But let's talk about Michigan Rock. How's that for a segue?
I hate that.
This album is called Michigan Rocks, and you want to know what? I have no idea where I got it. But there are clues. I looked it up, and it was only released in 1977. It was released on naturally several formats in 1977, vinyl, cassette, 8-track even, but it never saw a release after that. I thought I bought it. But after seeing that, I think I got it from my ex-brother-in-law when he was selling albums, and it was probably the selections by two of the bands featured on here. It's a collection of Michigan-based rock bands from the late '60s and very early '70s, and it's kind of a lo-fi recording. I was looking up other listeners' thoughts on this. Most of them said that it was kind of a lo-fi recording, and I thought it was just me because I kind of had to turn it up a little bit. Not, top quality producing, but good enough considering these were all released on other albums, and I'm sure there was some licensing and involved with using them on this compilation. Let's talk about subscriptions. Let's get it over early. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We talk about
rock and roll.
Talk about rock and roll here, Genevieve. Thank you very much. That's well said. Always have and always will. And if you've been watching for some time and not yet subscribed, shame on you. You don't want this one coming after you. Let me tell you. A rough customer. Little sleepy, but rough. Rough. She will beat your butt. All right, that aside, as you can see, there's a little band jamming on the front of that, little rock band. They all got the long hair. It looks like a trio. I always have a soft spot for a good trio. Love the trios of rock. And the back, the credits, the songs listed, who played on them. And I kind of find out some things when I was reading some of the members of some of these bands I wasn't too familiar with, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You open it up, and there's pictures of some of the more popular and not so popular Detroit-based and Michigan-based bands of the time. Let's go over the track listing, shall we?
No.
Kicks off with probably the song that says it all about Detroit rock, and it's by the Motor City 5, otherwise known as the MC5, and it's a song called Kick Out the Jams from their 1968 album, and recorded at the Grande Ballroom. I always thought it was the Grand Ballroom, but I found out recently after seeing this in print my whole life, I always thought the E was silent, but it isn't. It's the Grande Ballroom. Followed by the Stooges, led by the great Iggy Pop, listed here as Iggy Stooge, with the great Ron Asheton and Scott Asheton, the brothers, Dave Alexander on bass. The song's called 1969, and it was from their debut album, just called The Stooges, from 1969. Follow that by the Bob Seger System and a song called Heavy Music. Bob Seger went on to much bigger fame than the Bob Seger System in the 70s and early 80s. He had quite a career as a solo artist. A band called Detroit, formed with Mitch Ryder. Mitch Ryder was Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. He was a very popular Detroit-based artist, had a couple of hits in the mid-'60s. But he formed a band with Steve Hunter, who went on to play a lot of sessions and had a stint with Alice Cooper for a few albums in the 70s. true Michigan rock legend Steve Hunter and Mitch Ryder, and they had a short-lived band called Detroit. Side 1 finishes with Frost, and that has Dick Wagner on guitar, another legend. Also played with Alice Cooper on a few albums. I didn't know that they played in these bands. I wasn't even aware they were from Michigan or from the Detroit area or played with Detroit bands. Side 2, another certified classic, Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes, Journey to the Center of Your Mind. Song still heard on the classic radio, classic rock radio, the oldie stations actually, and the classic rock stations. To this day, led by terrible Ted Nugent, the Motor City Madman himself on lead guitar. Right after that, we got Mitch Ryder with his own group, Long Hard Road. They're backed up by the 7th Street Baptist Choir on this one, singing background. And that's followed by 2 bands that I'm really not, actually 3 bands that I'm not overly familiar with, but I found out through the magic of YouTube and the internet in general. Third Power, in a group, and a song called Persecution. Third Power had one album called Believe in 1970, and the album just cracked the Billboard 200 at 194, and they were pretty much never heard from again. They were contemporaries of the MC5 and the Stooges, but just didn't achieve that level of popularity. SRC stands for something. What does SRC for? It's an acronym for something. Bear with me. It stands for Scott Richard Case. Kind of named after some of the members of the band, particularly Scott Richardson, the lead singer, and their cover of the old bluesman Skip James classic "I'm So Glad." Doesn't sound anything like the blues song "I'm So Glad." It sounds a lot like the Cream cover of "I'm So Glad." Somebody's taking a shower upstairs, probably Chris. And this side 2 and the album finishes with the Rationals, led by Scott Morgan on lead vocals, who would go on to play with Scott Asheton and Fred Sonic Smith in a band called the Sonic's Rendezvous Band. A little later in the 70s, the Rationals in an Otis Redding cover of Respect. That Frost tune is the Detroit song with Mitch Ryder, that short-lived group we talked about, their song Rock and Roll was a Lou Reed cover, written by Lou Reed. Came out on, was it Sticks and Stems record? Seeds and Stems, alluding to the seeds and stems that would show up in marijuana. Very creative. They didn't have too many releases, this record company. There's some, I thank a few people that I never heard of on the back here. Alright, like I said, I had to have gotten this off my ex-brother-in-law because I wasn't buying albums in 1977. I think the first album I bought was, first vinyl I bought was in either 80 or 81. Would you keep it down? My God. Can't get it to shut up. My God. Ugh. Wear me out, kid. Until Monday night. YouTube, we're going to grab the Pittsburgh Pirates hat.
Gretchen will
Shake a Rooney.
show
You think Gretchen will be up for it?
Yeah.
Be her second album draw. She drew a gem here. A winner of an album. Hopefully she'll get just as lucky tomorrow night. But join us and we'll draw another album for review. next week, and next week will be the 21st of September. Man, we are just cruising towards fall, and even worse, we're creeping even closer to winter.
Yay!
Bah. Until Monday night, YouTube, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Catch you tomorrow night, Monday night.
Yes.
Night, night.
Toodles, queens.